Yeah, but unfortunately, some people in the Democratic Party are having pretty radical backlash against this decision. A bunch of them, but especially Senator Elizabeth Warren, oh, the lovely senator from my home state of Massachusetts. She is out there beating the drum to pack the Supreme Court because she's so mad about this one case about abortion.
This court has lost legitimacy. They have burned whatever legitimacy they may still have had after their gun decision, after their voting decision, after their union decision. They just took the last of it and set a torch to it with the Roe versus Wade opinion. I believe we need to get some confidence back in our court, and that means we need more justices on the United States Supreme Court.
So, Hannah, I just wondered, do they not see how incredibly short-sighted this is?
Apparently not, because they keep doing this kind of thing, and you covered this really well in your piece, but it was not even a decade ago that they last did something like this, where they curtailed one of the filibuster processes for judicial nominations, and then when they were not in power anymore, the Republicans came in and basically utilized that to curtail the filibuster power for Supreme Court justices, and then you end up getting 3 justices confirmed with virtually no support from the left. And as you adequately pointed out in your piece, that because of this, you ended up getting less moderate judges, because these kinds of protocols were typically in place so that whoever had the power couldn't just force its way on whoever was in the minority at the moment. But when they started undoing some of these processes, that was quickly used against them, and I think probably, as you said in the piece, led to getting more extreme right-leaning judges who were willing to overturn Roe v. Wade. And so the fact that they never just take their steps back and see how they got where they ended up is flabbergasting to me, but they sure don't, and they're very short-sighted. And I think that this whole thing with packing the Supreme Court, they've been floating it for a minute. There's a couple other kind of what I would say drastic measures they've floated, like getting rid of the Electoral College, getting rid of the filibuster in general, and they really don't seem to ever have any kind of insight to how that could quickly be used against them. And I think the reason for that is that they do have a stranglehold on the popular vote in this country. And they very much want to undo the very basic foundations of our country that protected individual liberty, that protected smaller states against larger states. They are actively trying to undo that so that we are in a straight democracy, because they know that if they can get to that point, it's likely that Republicans won't have the power again. And so that's actually what their long game is, I think, is to get to that point, and that should scare everybody.
Yeah, but it's not going to happen. The Democrats will win every election. I mean, look, they're about to get smacked in 2020. Just in November, really. But that's the thing that Elizabeth Warren and these folks don't seem to understand when they talk about court packing, which, just to be clear for people, means cramming additional justices, expanding the court, and then adding people who sympathize with you onto the court to sway the balance back in your party's favor. That wouldn't technically be unconstitutional. The Constitution doesn't set the justices at 9, but it's been that way since the mid-19th century. It's been that way for a long time. And it could theoretically be expanded in a neutral way, like say we just needed to have more cases. But that would need to be done in a bipartisan manner and then have equal Republican and Democrat appointees added both, so it wasn't this power grab. Because what would happen in this scenario that Elizabeth Warren is proposing is they would jam more justices onto the court. Then as soon as Republicans took back the presidency and the Senate, they would jam some Republican nominees to skew it back, and it would start this tit-for-tat escalation. Before you know it, we have a 1,000-member Supreme Court with zero legitimacy that can't do anything and no longer serves as a vital institution and a check and balance on the other branches of government. And guess what? That would hurt everybody but Democrats too. How many Supreme Court decisions have Democrats like Elizabeth Warren celebrated and heralded in the last 20 years? Gay marriage. So many, honestly, time and time again. Trump, the Supreme Court, even with a slight conservative majority, ruled against Trump a bunch of times on different things that he tried to do that weren't within the bounds of the law. These people would burn it all down, basically, destroy this institution just in a short-term rage over one decision they don't like, and it's just so misguided. It just, to me, speaks volumes about the seriousness and the character of some of the people that are pushing this, because they clearly don't care about the long-term health of this country if they're willing to torpedo such a vital institution just for short-term political gain.
Yeah, I think that's been made very evident, though, that they don't care about the long-term health of this country. I think there are many factions within the left that actively want to undo what this country is and has been. They hate this country. They hate our origins. They hate our very foundational beliefs. They hate capitalism, right? I don't think that that's everybody in the left by any means, but it is a growing faction of the left. It is becoming the most vocal faction of the left. And while I don't think they have the support to get through these more progressive ideas that AOC and Elizabeth Warren are floating, because they have a couple holdouts who are still in more moderate states, I do think that everybody should be concerned that that is where they're going. There is not significant pushback against these people within their party. There's not even significant pushback for people in the Democratic Party who would say that they care about the Constitution, that they support capitalism, that they really support individual liberty or basic civil liberties like free speech. This is a very bad thing. And I really do think that historically, if you look back, while there's always been flaws in our political system, like, don't get me wrong, but you did have a larger percentage in both the Democrat and Republican parties who could at least agree on those basic foundational things, right? And we're losing that rapidly, and I really don't know where we go from here. I've had kind of a pessimistic feeling over the past couple of weeks, especially as somebody who got into politics because I cared so much about making a difference, so much about preserving the Constitution and civil liberties and standing up for people who couldn't stand up for themselves. But it really does look kind of bleak when you look out 10, 15 years of where we're going in this country politically and of really who's left to stand guard for these ideas.
Yeah, I will just say this for a little bit of optimism. I blasted President Biden when he was campaigning for president because when they asked him about court packing, he would say, I'm not taking a position. And I'm like, hold on, this is a big deal. You can't just not take a position. But apparently now the White House is coming out, even after this momentous decision they really disagree with, and saying, no, we're not on board. Take a listen to the White House press secretary.
I was asked this question yesterday, and I've been asked it before, and I think the president himself about expanding the court. That is something that the president does not agree with. That is not something that he wants to do.
So I guess it could change, but Biden's putting the no on this. He's squashing this idea. Again, we've been huge critics of him. I think he's been mostly a dumpster fire as president, but I got to give him a little credit there for standing up to the far left on this one and not joining Elizabeth Warren to just nuke the Supreme Court over a decision he doesn't like. I got to give him a little credit.
Absolutely. Credit where credit's due. Yet again, that's 2 for 2 for Biden today, so he's having a pretty good week in my book. But yeah, I think that Biden, I heard this really great New York Times podcast the other day that was talking about Biden's presidency and about how, like, he basically promised himself to everybody on the left. He promised to be everything the progressives wanted and come in to, like, get this radical new agenda done. And then he also promised to be, like, this unifier and bring people together and bring in independence and to kind of be more moderate and to bring back normalcy. And since he's been in office, he's been sort of almost paralyzed with which master does he serve. And I think that actually is a really adequate description of his presidency and part of the reason it has been such a dumpster fire, because you cannot be all things to all people, and some of his indecision has led to really big issues. So I appreciate that he is at least kind of, it seems, coming to a conclusion when it comes to some of these questions on where he needs to be, what the country needs, and absolutely that's the right balance, because the vast majority of the country is not over here. But I do again worry, Biden's old. He is an old representative of the Democratic Party. There's a lot of people who want to primary him the next go around. So it's temporarily encouraging that he chose that side and spoke out against this. But again, long term, this idea is not new. This idea has been around since FDR. That's the first person who wanted to pack the Supreme Court. And so to see it kind of this age and era of FDR's progressivism gaining steam again is what's so problematic. It's bigger than just one person.